Welcome to another episode of the Quantum Ascension Shift Codes, which is the series I launched on YouTube back in June. I thought it was going to wrap here by the fall equinox in September, but there are a few more episodes that are coming through. This episode is going to put a little bow on everything. There may be a bonus episode, we'll see, but right now, the whole series is accessible on the YouTube channel in the membership area. When the last episode drops, it will get taken down and everything will get packaged into um, an evergreen program or bundled in some way. I'm not sure yet. That being said, the thing that really is the cherry on top of this whole series, Quantum Ascension Shift Codes, should tell you right there. If you've resonated with this series, if you've been drawn to this transmission, you are shifting into your 5D New Earth timeline, leading, creating, giving, and receiving from divine overflow. Divine overflow is a state that starts within, first and foremost. But what I'm going to share with you is going to cut through any of the noise that you are experiencing in trying to create from overflow. Because ultimately, if you had a pie chart, the creation process, creation is already finished. 95% of that, 99% of that pie chart is going to be you in receptive mode. The other 1% is going to be whatever aligned divine actions that are guided will appear and you will take those. But it's not, you're not leading with action, you're not leading with doing, you're not leading with trying, you're not trying to figure anything out. It's really dissolving of the egoic personal will, which is rooted in drive and motivation and trying to achieve an external outcome through some linear process, step by step actions to take, and things like that. That is not 5D creation. What you're moving into is heart centered creation. Heart centered creation is guided by your intuition, which is not based in linear thinking or logic, and will pull you out of your comfort zone because it will call you into the unknown. So you will be cultivating a high level of trust and faith on this in this process, in this transition into your new earth timeline, your 5D timeline, 5D and beyond, because many will be far beyond 5D in this incarnation. But you are moving into heart-centered creation. And being in receptive mode is the opposite of what you have been trained to believe in modern society and conditioning that has always told you you needed to hustle and try to figure everything out, perform effort, and work really hard and try to take whatever action steps can lead to some kind of logical expectation, goal, or outcome. And that's not 5D quantum manifestation. And it's not the heart centered creation process, which is the only thing you can create from in the 5D if you want to live your highest and best life, your divine reality, a life beyond what you even thought was possible. It's not going to be compartmentalized and figured out by the logical mind. You're going beyond the mind because you are beyond the mind. You are prior to the mind. You're prior to the thoughts. You're prior to the beliefs. You're prior to all of this. And so you are the formless and the form simultaneously. And you are here to express as the divinely being that you are, divinely guided, divinely expressed, divinely one with the source of all creation that created you. And so intuitive heart centered creation defies logic. What will trip a lot of people up during this quantum manifestation creation process is trying to figure everything out and trying to effort or do. This is shifting from doing to being. When you are being in the truth of who you are being, you are emanating, you are abiding in and as the one that you are, the true you that is prior to form, prior to thoughts, prior to beliefs, prior to the body, prior to language, prior to labels, prior to concepts. You are in receptive mode. 99% of the game is you being here now, receiving as the one. You are the one. From there, you will have curiosity and feel pulled in certain directions that feel fun, that light you up, that bring you joy. 5D heart centered creation on your new earth timeline does not feel like effort or working. It feels like play. It feels like fun. It feels like flow. And what the egoic mind will say as you are anchoring into this heart centered unity consciousness creation process is that it's lazy to not be doing, or that you have to actually work very hard in order to get XYZ result. And that is all a concept. That is not true. And it may have been true for you in the previous old you identity, the one that was raised and conditioned through this human timeline from fear-based separation consciousness where everything existed outside of you and you had to go out there and get it and bring it all into your world in order to feel better, which is why manifestation, which is largely how you've been manifesting up until now, it doesn't work for you because it's still coming from lack. It's still coming from scarcity. It's still coming from there's a sense of you and there's everything else out there, whether that be more money or a person or a career or a new house or a car or whatever it is, and it's outside of you and you now need to go get it. And that is the opposite of what is true. You are already here as one with all things. You are one with all things. You are oneness expressing. There is only one source, and you are that. There is no separation. Separation is the illusion. And so all manifestation that comes from separation consciousness is going to fail. It's not going to yield you results. It's going to bring you into more cycles of suffering and distortion because you're creating from fear-based consciousness. Anything you create from fear-based consciousness will only give you more of the same. So, creating from heart centered unity consciousness means you are following your intuition and your inner guidance, and you are anchored in your I am presence, and you are allowing yourself to go into the directions that call you, that feel like fun, that feel like flow, that feel like play, and then you follow those threads. There's no expectation, there's no certainty of outcome. There's just you here now playing and creating. And creation often looks like doing nothing and being in the receptive mode and being what you are conscious of being. This isn't complacency doing nothing. This isn't doing nothing and sitting around on your couch and complaining. This isn't doing nothing and sitting around stuck in victim consciousness. This is being here now, conscious and embodied in the truth of what you truly are, which is already abundant, already rich, already innately love at your core, already everything that you desire. And anchored in that, that is true receptive mode, is you being what it is you want to create. You are a powerful creator. Now, there are beings on this planet that as they ascend into their higher into higher dimension of consciousness, they are perfectly just wanting to be the beingness, and they don't feel the pull or the call to express it in any particular way, and that's perfectly fine. But that's not what this transmission is for, because there are also those that feel called to not only be who you are, be the truth of who you are, fully embodied in your divinity, and play the game of life at the highest level and be able to divinely express and create and give and receive and play and be one with all of creation and fully enjoy everything that life has to offer because you're it. There's no reason to deny it. The only thing that would deny it is the egoic mind that wants to keep it, you small. This isn't an egoic drive wanting to experience all life has to offer that you have innately in you. This innate desire within you to explore and play and create and expand into your highest divine expression is not the ego running and chasing after something in order to try to fill a perceived void. That's fear-based consciousness. You're not trying to get something because you feel you need it in order to make you feel lovable, whole, complete, worthy, or good enough. That's ego coming in the back door trying to create the life of your dreams, and that will not work. That is not 5D timeline unity consciousness. That is not the truth of who you are. That is separation consciousness trying to create something that you feel you are lacking, and you are already whole and complete. So at the end of the day, it gets actually very, very simple, even though what I'm sharing feels maybe very abstract and um, uh, uh, like it's some big process. There are purifications that happen to help you come into more embodiment of the truth of who you are, but at the end of the day, this is all rooted on very simple, undeniable truths that once you see these, you will not be able to unsee them, and that is that you are one with all of creation. So even if this is not your direct experience yet, I want you to play with this. You are one with all of creation. There is no other moment than now. This isn't woo woo, this is science. It's science is catching up with what ancient uh, mystics have said for millennia. There is only now, there is only here, and there is only one source, and you are that. There is only now, there is only here, and there is only one source, and you are that. As this is seen, it is seen that you are one with all things. How could you not be? There is only one source, and you are that. And it can only be known here and now, realized here and now, meaning you will never realize it in the level of the mind, at the level of the conceptual level that overlays the truth, the mind that's always reaching and hooking into stories and narratives that are basically selling you the lie of separation. There is only one source, the source that created you. You are one with the source that created you. And there's only one moment of power to know this, and that is the only moment that ever exists. It's not even a moment, because the moment implies that there's a moment and then there's another moment and another moment, and that there's like separation between these moments, and there is no separation. There's just now, here, as the one source that created you. You are a spark of the divine, the ultimate creator, having a case of forgetfulness, having a case of amnesia. And as you remember the truth of who you are, because you've never not been this, you are abiding now where you are already one with all that is. If you're already one with all that is, there's nothing to chase or seek or try to get, because you're already all of it. You just have to be conscious of being what you truly are, which is the source. And then from this level, we're not discounting humanity. There are some beings who, as they ascend, maybe they want to just disappear and go sit on a Himalayan mountaintop in spacious beingness in isolation. That's cool. But that's not what your soul is calling you to experience in this lifetime, or you wouldn't be resonating with this. There are those that are here to be fully anchored and embodied in their divinity and expressing and playing and creating at the highest level, playing this game of humanity at the highest level. This is the new earth human, and you are here to lead this paradigm. If you're resonating with this, and you're here to lead through your frequency, through being the one, and leading from this ultimate truth and expressing as the one individuated expression that you call you. You are oneness expressing. and getting to play the human game at the highest level, where at this point you're no longer wearing the mask of separation, the wounded identity, the identity that always felt like the world was against them, the one that always had to go out there and seek and search and and needed something outside of yourself to be validated, loved, worthy, or good enough. And instead, you now get to select what identity you want to play in, what realm, what paradigm you want to play in, whatever word you want to use to it. They're all just words. None of them are really perfect to describe any of this. But let's just say you get to select whatever identity or paradigm you want to play in. I like to use the word paradigm because if you use the word identity, that assumes that you're creating a new identity for yourself. And really, there's only one true identity that's going to yield to you your highest divine timeline. And that is that you are oneness expressing, that you are God in human form, that you are a spark of creation, that you are a child of God. And because you are this innately worthy, whole, and complete, it absolutely makes zero sense to play in a smaller paradigm where you're limited or restricted. So, of course, anything that's being called through you that feels like fun and joy and expansion, which is the name of the game when you life is here to expand and you are that, you are life. Life plays this game of expansion. It plays the game of death and rebirth. It plays the game of evolution, right? You are here to play that game, but at the highest level. That's it. And so then you get to select whatever it is you want to play, whatever whatever paradigm you want to play in. And it's already done. There's no heavy lifting for you to create. The biggest way to create is to be in the receptive mode by knowing that this is true. Keyword knowing. It's not a trying. It's not, you're not trying to be a 2.0 version of yourself. You're not trying to get anywhere. You're not efforting to do something that will get you some kind of end result. You are here now for the pure joy of being here now, playing and creating in. And this dropped in the other day that just gave full body chills. It's not even about all the successes that your ego, human self thinks it needs and wants, which is fine. And you will attract all of those things and they will come in ways that blow your mind because you're no longer playing at the conceptual level of the mind and you're no longer playing at that level. So it'll come in and it'll blow the mind on how powerful you are. And that is the biggest reward for this journey, is to be able to play the game of life at the highest level, fully anchored in your God essence and experience the divine greatness that lies within you and how powerful you are as a creator and a child of God, one with the creator. I'm getting full body chills right now because this is ultimately when the things that you think that you want start to pop into your experience, and I can speak from experience on this, when the clients and the money that you were desperately waiting for, or the relationship or whatever, like, or whatever it is for you, start to pop into your experience in what appears to be miraculous ways, you won't care. You won't be at a place of caring anymore because you will have already been so anchored in being it already, conscious of being the wealthy, abundant level love at your core, powerful self, that it'll feel just like obvious. It'll just be like, oh yeah, there you are. Yeah, of course. There will be gratitude and there will be this like wow. And the wow is just this um wow, like everything that happened along your trail, everything that happened that you experienced on your human trail, on your human timeline, you won't trade a thing. And it all, in hindsight, looking back, you can see how it all played out because it's always going to play out perfectly because you are one, you are life itself, and you're the orchestra, you're the one scripting it, you're the one writing it. It's never not going to play out perfectly. And just there's just this wow and gratitude. At least that's what the experience has been over here. Just wow and gratitude, but not for the individual manifestations that begin to pop in. Because I have, even with clients in Rise Sister Rise, they have massive manifestations that pop in after they start working together, working with me in the container. And they instantly see that that wasn't it, that they don't have that sense of inner peace, fulfillment, joy, and worthiness. And that's part of the inner alchemy that takes place when we work together, because when they actually receive the thing that they were, thinking that they needed, because they are a powerful creator, and I help them tap into being the powerful creator by plugging the energetic leaks. But it's ultimately coming full circle and realizing that none of those things will bring you the level of satisfaction and the level of appreciation and gratitude, and then your union with the divine, then your union with the divine. And this is the ultimate gift that you are graced with on this journey, is the experience of being one with the divine and being able to create and play at that level and know your true innate God essence and power that lies within you, and having just reverence and gratitude and wow for the entire thing, and the being able to play and create and expand into bigger and bigger levels, not because your ego is missing something, because it just feels so fun to play and create and expand into more. So this journey is not about doing more. This journey will actually challenge you to do less, and to challenge the egoic mind that comes up and says, but now you're being lazy, but now you're not doing enough, but oh, if you don't go do this, how is this ever going to lead to a result? If you don't do this, how are you ever going to make money? Or if you don't do this, then maybe you just hopped on Instagram and you heard someone else saying that this is what they did to have success, and so now you think you got to go do that. Like, you'll get pulled in so many ways that the ego will latch onto all of that and try to distract you from the truth of your core power within, which everything that is created in the external world, and when I say created, everything that you see, that you collapse into that time, when you collapse into that timeline, everything that you see is a result of what you are conscious of being. This inwardly, this inward alchemy of you coming home to the truth of who you are, is the source of the creation that you see, that you call your life or your 3D reality. Every tool, technique, modality, tip, all of it that leads you to a place of finally anchoring into your own knowingness eventually will become a crutch on this journey. This is the other thing I wanted to share, because you can be trying to affirm your way to your highest timeline. You can be trying to do some guided meditation every day, or some ritual, or some technique, or even using the law of assumption, trying to assume your way into your higher timeline. As long as it's still coming from the separate sense of self, you will not click into your higher timeline. It's impossible. There's only one way. There's only one way into your higher timeline, just like there's only one source and there's only one moment of now. Again, not a moment. It's not truly a moment, but I think you know what I'm saying. There's only one way into your higher timeline. And the you, this came up on an Embody the Empress call last week, the you that keeps trying and using Neville Goddard techniques, or Joe Dispenza meditations from a place of the separate self, trying to get something outside of you, is the crutch that keeps you looping. Everything gets you ultimately to the point where the last piece of the puzzle is you, and it's always been you, but you may have needed some kind of journey to get to the realization that it's always been you. But it's always been you. You are the missing piece that needs to plug into the puzzle in order for you to shift into your highest divine reality and live a life that is beyond what the mind was able to even conceive. And that is not something that you can figure out. It's not something that you can effort your way to. And it's not something that you can, you know, manipulate or control, or it's not going to be your personal will, your drive, your motivation, and all the things that got you up to this point. That's all of that stuff is very tied to the egoic will. You can feel a pull on your solar plexus chakra when that's happening. You're trying to force reality, you're trying to manipulate the external reality and get it to bend to your personal will through some personal agenda. And all of that is fear based consciousness, and it will just create more of the same in the reflection, in the echo, in the mirror, because that is what you are conscious of being. At the end of the day, you are the missing piece. When you are conscious of being the love and abundance and everything that you desire, everything falls into place. And the ego will try to hook you in many, many ways, including the very beautiful practices that got you to this point that you feel you still need. Need is a very interesting word here, that you feel you still need in order to get X, Y, or Z or get into your higher timeline. Do you see where I'm going with this? The you that's trying is not the you that already has it, right? So I use this metaphor like if you are trying to get pregnant, you're going to be reading a lot of books on getting pregnant. You might be charting your ovulation, or you might be, you know, changing your diet or whatever, but you're reading books on trying to get pregnant. But once you're pregnant and you're in the result, you're living the result, you are it, you are pregnant. Are you going to keep reading books about pregnancy? You might start acting differently. You might start doing things differently. You might have interests that shift into something different, like what color to paint the nursery or picking out baby names and things like that. So, what you are conscious of being here and now is what your external reality is creating, and you are the missing piece. And you will not be able to create your highest 5D timeline by dragging your separate sense of self with you and trying to figure everything out. The very act of you trying, the very act of you doing those very beautiful techniques to try to get somewhere or get something is the very thing that is keeping you from fully being the version of you that already has it, that already is it. And this is what Neville Goddard meant when he said living in the assumption. But even Neville Goddard's highest teachings are that consciousness is God. So the ultimate missing piece here is you. It's always been you. There's never been anything else that ever needed to click into place except be still and know that I am God. You, the I am, the true you, the I am presence that you are, the divinity in form that you are, is that powerful. And when you abide here and now in the truth of who you are, you lock in that missing piece, and it will not be anything the mind, it will not be a process that the mind can figure out. The mind will tell you that you're lazy for being here now and just following what feels like fun. That's all you have to do. Creation is already finished. Your job is to be in receptive mode. Receiving is part of creation. They're two sides of the same coin. Giving is part of receiving. You are here now, one with all that is. Be still and know that I am God. God dwells within you. You are here to be a living, walking transmission of embodied divinity, playing the game of life at the highest vantage point, unencumbered by the fear based mind that is rooted in separation, consciousness, lack, scarcity, and unworthiness. You are the missing piece. There's nothing left for you to do. You don't have to figure this out. You just have to be it. I know it's a big paradox. I know it can sound very frustrating to the mind who's perceiving this right now, if you're perceiving this at the level of the mind. I know. I've been on that side of the coin, so I get it. Like, that's part of why I'm here sharing. I know how, when you're still coming as the seeker, when you're still living as the seeker and you're seeking all of your proof and validation and approval and everything outside of you, and you're leaking your energy and you're leaking your power, you're lowering your frequency, you're diluting your magnetism. True divine feminine magnetism is you being here embodied in your divinity, you being the divinely sovereign ruler of your life. Hard stop. Everything else that you think you want, all of your desires, all of them that are God given desires, not egoic desires that you're using to put a band aid over something, but all of your true soul desires that are still there, no matter what, are all a byproduct of you choosing the true you and coming home to yourself, your embodied divinity, and you being the divinely sovereign ruler of your life. And there's purification that happens along the way. You don't just wake up like this. In truth, there is purification long before and after realizing your true nature. It then even becomes more and more refined over time, because you just come more and more. There's just expansion. There's just this, you don't, there is no such thing as stagnancy. There's no such thing as stagnancy. There's just expansion, evolution, and growth. And so the difference is when you're operating from the separate sense of self, everything feels like an uphill battle and a struggle and a hustle. And it's no longer working for you because your operating system, so to speak, has changed. You can't play your 5D timeline, your new earth timeline, from the old 3D operating system. And so there is a purification that happens. There are ways that you can embody deeper and deeper levels of your true frequency in the vessel, because everything happens through the body. But there is nothing stopping you from realizing you right now. You right here, right now. There's You've always been whole, you've always been complete. You are here right now. The only thing is buying into the identity of the wounded self, the old identity that you cannot take with you into your newer timeline. This journey is a journey of ascension, embodiment, alchemy, and it's a beautiful journey that expands long after you realize your divine nature. But the thing is, life doesn't really start. Like, you get to start, you get a fresh slate when you begin to live from the truth of your being. Prior to that, you're living on autopilot. You're living from knee-jerk conditioned responses and patterns and behaviors and things like that you've identified as being you, and that have been borrowed from society or from your parents or from your childhood or from your trauma. And you have been identified with it, and you've been living in a knee-jerk reaction with reality, with the world that you see, giving all the power away to the external world, when actually all of the power lies within you. So you're not free. You are literally like a hamster in a wheel, just reacting to external circumstances until you begin to take your power back and fully anchor into your divine sovereignty. And then it's like returning to the innocence of a child, because you are no longer playing the game from this small, separate, wounded self. And if you think of a child at a very young age, there are no limits. The imagination runs wild. You get to play and create the dreamer within, but now you get to play at a whole new level that isn't encumbered by the fear-based mind. And so this is where you truly get to live, instead of just react to an external world that isn't even real. It's illusory. That doesn't mean it's not real. It doesn't mean it's real. It means it's illusory. It is not real in the way that you think it is. It is illusory at best, meaning it is not as it seems. The external world is a reflection and an echo. It's like a simulation of what you are conscious of being. and it is fluid and malleable, and you think it's solid and fixed, and that you have to figure everything out and manipulate it in order to get some kind of goal, but it's actually fluid. It's not fixed at all. It's very malleable when you play this game at the highest level. But it's going to take a complete undoing and a complete unwinding of everything that you've believed to be true about yourself and about reality and about the way that you exist in the world. Everything is backwards moving forward, and you cannot operate from your old operating system anymore. Try, you won't be able to. You can't even go back. Your soul won't let you, and literally your old timeline will crumble beneath your feet because you are being catapulted into a whole new dimension of consciousness. And the more you just get on board with that, the easier it will be, because you stop cycling, in you stop looping in suffering, and you reclaim your power, reclaim your divine sovereignty, take your throne as the divinely sovereign ruler that you are, as the spark of God, the spark of creation that you are, and you begin to live as and play as that. You no longer need to manipulate the 3D world. That doesn't even make any sense when you're living here as the truth of who you are. In fact, it feels very, very uncomfortable to even try. What you're doing is hard. That part is hard. Trying to manipulate external reality, try to bend to your personal will, that is just asking for struggle. That is asking for just an uphill battle. This is easy. This is effortless. This is your innate state of being. This is your essence that is already truly magnetic when you stop bogging it down with all of the fear-based conditioning and programming and stories that keep you looping in suffering, lack, scarcity, unworthiness. There has to be a desire to go beyond your old conditioned patterns and out of your comfort zone, because the egoic mind will always pull you back into what is familiar for you. And what is familiar is your old identity that is coming from lack, scarcity, and fear-based consciousness. So you must be willing to follow your intuition into the unknown. You must be willing to play and create without the certainty that your mind is so desperately wanting. You must be willing to let go and let God, and realize at some point, by seeing truly what and who you are, that you have always been the missing piece. And at a certain point, you will get tired of you will get totally exhausted giving your power away. And you will come home to the truth of who you are. All roads eventually lead home. So I think that's it for now. If you want to work together, check out the links wherever you find this. There's Embody the Empress, which is a membership that gives you weekly calibration calls with me every single Saturday, and live transmissions and activations in there with other women that are, anchoring in their 5D timeline. And then Rise Sister Rise, if you are ready to lead and you want to dive deeper into a higher proximity container that dives deep into quantum identity calibrations and unleashing your divine magic and gifts that you're here to share with the world, then check out Rise Sister Rise. You can DM me the word Rise on Instagram. And until next time, I hope this finds you well. Namaste.